DC, y'all had one job: to quench the constant bickering in between both fandoms. And the fandoms that I'm talking about are the DC fandom and the boys fandom. I have been seeing a lot of people trying to claim that Homelander is on the same level as Superman in terms of strength, speed, durability, etc. I have been seeing so many people believing that Homelander could actually beat up Superman, let alone kill Superman. Throughout the years, this conversation has been nagging on my brain. It has been forcing me to become rabid. It turned me into an animal because I have been so annoyed at witnessing a lot of fans believing false narratives. But DC had a layup in front of them. They had free game. They were literally standing at the finish line and they could have finished easily. They could have given the fans a true definitive answer as to who's stronger in between Superman and Homelander. They were staring right at the goalie. The goalie walked away. The goalie left the net open for DC to kick the ball into the net, but DC found a way to loop the ball over the net, and they made sure that that ball was never found, because during DC KO's boss battle, the conversation in between Superman and Homelander is only going to get more fiery. It's only going to get more annoying. It's only going to get more tiresome because we did not see a definitive winner in this battle. Now, I know the title of this video is going to be very misleading because I actually really liked this issue. This issue was very fun. It was funny. It was comedic. It was entertaining. It literally showcased a lot of characters from other properties like the Mortal Kombat universe, the Boys universe, hell, even Sabrina and the Teenage Witches universe. And we also saw an appearance of Red Sonja. I really loved seeing all of these characters mashed together, and these characters were just bouncing off of each other. And the highlight of this entire issue was the Joker's encounter with Annabelle. That was so funny. Now, I do not hate this issue. This issue is very good. I recommend you guys checking this issue out, even though DCKO as a whole is not underwhelming, but it's just flat out solid. It's not good, but it's solid. This issue is really good in my honest opinion, but there is one aspect about this issue that made me annoyed. This aspect really pissed me off because Superman should not be feeling any strikes from Homelander. Now, obviously, the Homelander that I will be talking about in this video is not from the Boys TV show. The Homelander that I'm speaking about is from the Boys comic universe. Believe it or not, both of them are different characters despite being the same character, if you know what I mean. But still, that does not change the fact that both characters should get completely destroyed by Superman. They should get embarrassed, humiliated, and they should get wiped out by Superman. They are not on the same level as Superman. And the comic Homelander literally is planetary. He can only smash through titanium. He can destroy jets. He can do a lot of things that are impressive when you look at it at face value. But when you're comparing these feats to Superman and you're looking at Superman casually lifting Earth, he's carrying and dragging around planets. He can destroy dead planets. He can fly to a different universe just because he heard Lois Lane's name being called and screamed. Superman is universal. He is omniversal. He's multiversal, but the comic power scaling is always going to be inconsistent. When we look at the Boys' universe, that universe is very mundane compared to the likes of the Marvel universe or the DC universe. Hell, even the Invincible universe. The Boys universe is still planetary in my honest opinion. They can somewhat reach into the galaxy side of things, but in terms of feats and raw strength, they are still compressed into a planetary category. But DC is on on an omniversal scale. Superman has been known to survive multiversal encounters and situations. Superman even knocked out the World Forger so hard that that punch was the equivalent of a multiverse crashing upon itself. Superman destroyed the World Forger's mini universe with one punch. And I'm not even going to go into detail about Superman's feats and his strength. You just have to look that up yourself. But Superman is a figure that should not be feeling the hits of Homelander, but we know how comic scaling is. Comic scaling fluctuates. It always has a different outcome depending on the writer, and it seems that the writer of this issue wanted to be fair. They wanted to make sure that the fans of the Boys universe are not going to go home angry. They wanted both sides to be happy, but unfortunately it kind of weakened Superman's feats. Now the issue starts off like this. Gorilla Grodd and the World Forger are panicking because they do not want everything to collapse on itself. They're discussing about the possibility of what is to come, and Grodd tells the World Forger, the battle with Darkseid has left you hurt, World Forger. Maybe this is a sign. World Forger responds saying, of what, Grodd? That we should quit? Throw in with that madman? No, it would better if this universe ends than letting him have his way. Grodd is trying to negotiate with the World Forger that maybe we should just side with Darkseid, but honestly, I'm on the side of the World Forger because you should never side with a nigga like Darkseid. That's basically signing a deal with the devil. So Grodd ultimately reluctantly agrees, and he says that choice may be out of our hands. Look, and they both turn and they see that the last four heroes of our universe are about to go head to head with Darkseid's minions: Absolute Superman, Michael Carter's Booster Gold, Absolute Batman, and Absolute Wonder Man. These four antagonists are being controlled by Darkseid, so they are not willingly attacking our beloved characters. Then as soon as World Forger sees this, he panics. He instantly smashes his hammer down to the ground, and this causes a wave of energy to surround the surrounding area, and this energy causes the fight to temporarily pause. And as this happens, Diana, she realizes this and she says they're frozen. Joker responds by saying, hilarious, quick, let's slice their throats before they start moving again. But World Forger chimes in and says, no, if you were to attempt to harm them, this blink of an eye would shut and the tournament would continue. Luthor responds by saying, and let me guess, we would lose. World Forger explains the reasoning as to why he froze the combatants, and he says, yes, Luthor, these other versions of you were born, forged in the energy of an Omega universe. You do not have the power to fight them yet. Here, yes, I can feel them, former combatants that have lost, but may yet be given a second chance to help us in our quest. Then World Forger brings back Black Lightning, Plastic Man, Batwoman, and Star Sapphire. These four heroes recently competed in the tournament but were beaten, and they were forced to sit on the sidelines as statues/stones. So now World Forger continues and he says, as the only one that might be able to pierce the veil of the multiverse, I will attempt to reach out to the worlds beyond and bring new champions into these reality fissures. You all must enter the fissures, fight the champions. I will collect the Omega energy produced, and when my hammer is full, I can transfer the energy to the final four to finish this fight. Hurry, I will not be able to keep these rifts open for long. Now go. And he sends our beloved heroes into new realities, into new universes, into new worlds. World Forger hopes that our heroes can generate enough energy so that his scythe can be strong enough, because as things stands right now, these niggas would have gotten smoked if they fought Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Diana, and Booster Gold, because Darkseid's Omega energy is so massive, it's so ginormous and enormous. Darkseid is currently overpowered right now, and as the heroes get spawned into the different realities, we are looking at a lot of funny and cool sequences. Now, I won't talk too much about the sequences because that's not the point. point of this video, I will just briefly gloss over what happened in between these sequences and scenes. So Black Lightning and Plastic Man get transported into the Mortal Kombat universe, and they are instantly thrown into a fight with Sub-Zero. And next thing you know, we're looking at Wonder Woman as she gets thrown into the universe that Red Sonja resides in, and she instantly gets thrown into a fight with the Crimson She-Devil known as Red Sonja. So we're seeing two fights right out of the gate. There are no introductions. These niggas are not going to talk with each other. They are just going to throw hands at first, but then this contrast the later combatants, because the Joker gets transported into the universe that Annabelle resides in, and he is looking at a house right in front of him. He walks into the house, and I swear to God, the funniest part of this entire book is Joker's encounter with Annabelle, because as he is walking in, he says, "Quaint, could use a bit more vandalism though." And you know, he now hears a door slam. He turns around, he looks, and he sees a doll. He says, "Oh, what do we have here? A little doll." And he now says to himself, "Won't this be fun?" So we're already seeing that he has a different interaction with Annabelle compared to Red Sonja and Diana and Black Lightning, Plastic Man, and Sub-Zero. There is no throwing hands immediately. There are no brawls. There are no fights. There is just mind games. And Joker, he's trying to play mind games with this doll, but this will backfire on Joker so bad, because this is actually going to make the Joker become insecure, because he doesn't want anybody else to be funnier than him in this entire situation. The Joker's priorities make no sense in this book, but I really like that they wrote him this way. And we now look at Batwoman. She gets transported into the universe that Vampirella is residing in, and as Batgirl kicks down the door, she is stumbled upon Vampirella's sight, and Vampirella tells her, "I must say, you definitely know how to make an entrance." Then she now uses her super speed to get right behind Batwoman, and she now continues saying, "Though, I wonder how much better your exit will be." So Star Sapphire meets Sabrina, the teenage witch, and they don't fight because, you know, Sabrina, she is a little kid, she is a teenager. So Star Sapphire is kind of apprehensive about this. Even though she wants to fight, she explains to her that, "Look, we have to fight so that my universe can be saved, and I know this does not make sense right now, but we just need to create a bunch of Omega energy." And Sabrina, she's like, "Oh wow, I can literally just create a nice spell that could defeat whoever you're coming up against or whoever you're facing. I can easily do that." But Sabrina is looking like she is not really controlling her powers as of right now, so she now creates a spell. This causes pandemonium around them. Cars are flying away, debris is just flying everywhere, and as this is going on, Lex Luthor gets transported. And this scene is also very funny because I know nothing about the universe that Samantha Strong resides in, but when I saw this panel, it was so funny seeing Lex Luthor coming face to face with a bear who has a knife, and this bear literally killed a rabbit, and the rabbit is being strung by the legs upside down on a tree. This was so funny because Lex Luthor in the comics, he really doesn't come up against these type of people, so it's very odd seeing Lex Luthor out of his element like this. And the bear tries to attack Luthor, but Luthor ducks, he evades, he's trying to run away, but Samantha is not relenting. She is trying to kill Lex, but Lex, you know, whacks her away. Lex now is trying to recuperate, but Samantha jumps and lunges at Lex Luthor again, and she's trying to kill my boy. But we now look at the big meat of this video, bro, and the big meat of this video is Superman's encounter with Homelander. Now Homelander, we all know he resides in the boys universe, so Superman gets transported into that universe, and he is hearing people screaming. As soon as he gets into this universe, he just sniffs how trash this universe is. He really is feeling and sensing how pathetic this universe is, and he is seeing how hopeless this universe really is. So he instantly flies into action once he is hearing someone screaming, "No, stop, stop!" And Superman flies down there. He lands like the GOAT that he is, like the LeBron James that he is, and he asks, "Is there a problem here?" But he hears a voice, and this voice is coming from someone who theoretically is exactly like Superman. Remember, Homelander is a Superman knockoff. He's a Superman copycat. The writers of The Boys based Homelander off of Superman. Basically, their type of Superman is, what if Superman was evil? What if he wasn't an alien? And what if he was an American-born hero that turned into a villain? Even though, come on, ultimately Homelander was never a hero during his upbringing. But Homelander is standing face to face with Superman, and he says, a problem? Not when Homelander is on the scene. But I'm sorry, who the fuck are you supposed to be? And as this is going on, we're looking at Plastic Man and Black Lightning beat up Sub-Zero. They make quick work of him. They just two-piece him. But after this little skirmish, they realize that the fight is not done just yet, because Scorpion arrives, and Scorpion and Sub-Zero are trying to battle Plastic Man and Black Lightning. But ultimately, honestly, this is like the coffin baby going up against the hydrogen bomb, because come on, man, did the writers really believe that Scorpion and Sub-Zero could stand a chance at Black Lightning? But to be more specific, Plastic Man is probably one of the most overpowered characters in DC. And if this nigga Plastic Man is not a comedian, he could be an Omega level threat. So Plastic Man quickly dispatches Scorpion. He just grabs him and he not says, you know what, don't tell me get over here, you get over here, nigga. And Plastic Man just whacks Scorpion into Sub-Zero, and simultaneously Black Lightning now shocks them, and both of them are incapacitated. That was very funny, because come on, man, Plastic Man is not losing that fight. So Red Sonja and Wonder Woman are evenly matched, and Red Sonja is even getting the best of Wonder Woman. I actually didn't really like Wonder Woman showing here. I thought that she could have gotten some more licks against Red Sonja. She could have beat her up very, very easily, because she is on par with Superman in terms of strength, but she dispatches of this fight temporarily by using her bracelets to create a shockwave. Now we're going back into the main event, and the main event is Superman versus Homelander. And as Superman is trying to talk to Homelander shushes him. He says, shush, shush, shush. Let me guess, you're here to kill me. Another in a long line of people trying to take my mantle as America's favorite superhero. Well, my friend, many have tried, but most had better outfits, and they now start to clash. They start to throw hands. To be more specific, they start to throw eyes, because they're using their heat vision against each other. But this dialogue pisses me off, because Superman says his heat vision, it matches mine. Superman, what do you mean, bro? This nigga's heat vision does not match yours. You literally go up against gods. You go up against multiversal and omniversal beings every single Tuesday. This nigga is a scrum. How is he your equal so far? Then Superman, like the LeBron James he is, you know, he's fast, he can evade bullshit, and he can sense it from a mile away. So he ducks, he now flies under the ground, and Homelander says leaving so soon, but Superman was not leaving anytime soon, because Superman now comes up from the ground and he uppercuts Homelander so hard that Homelander is bleeding already. And Superman says Superman does not run away. Yeah, that's my goat right there. That's my goat, Superman. But I thought that would have been the end of the fight. I thought Homelander would have gotten easily knocked out. If that ended the fight right then and there, then this would have been the best Superman fight Superman has been in quite some time, because it actually makes sense. But no, DC, man, you were literally right there. You had an open shot. You could have scored the goal, but instead you decided to kick the ball lopsided. You made sure that the ball was not going to go into the net. You made sure that you are not going to generate a touchdown. You literally were at the end zone. You could have walked into the end zone, but you decided to go out of bounds, because Homelander is not fazed by that hair. Sure, yeah, he is bleeding, but he is still cognitive. He is still alive. He is still breathing. And Homelander now says, my turn. And he flies into Superman. He tackles Superman down. I'm like, nah, bro. Superman cannot be getting hit by this nigga, man. But, you know, the World Forger is still trying to hold this energy. He's feeling that the energy is, you know, becoming so overwhelming, but he can't hold it on for much longer. So now the energy is collapsing on itself. The universes are now going to become fractured, and this is going to cause a lot of the fights to bleed into each other. And Joker is so funny, man. He is talking with Annabelle and he says, oh, Annabelle, you are a wicked one, aren't you? Why, your stories are almost as hilarious as my own. And like I said earlier in the video, Joker does not want anybody to be as funny as him. Hell, he doesn't want anybody to be funny in the same room as him, because he says, which really just makes me mad. He now breaks the teacup and he is trying to stab Annabelle with it. He says, I'm the only one that's supposed to be funny around here. But as he's about to attack Annabelle, Superman is getting tackled into the Joker's encounter. I'm like, bro, how is Superman being pushed back by this fraud, by this wannabe, by this loser? Look, I love Homelander's character in The Boys. Homelander is probably one of the best supervillains that we have gotten on the TV screen recently, and I love The Boys' TV show, but come on, in terms of physical strength, in terms of raw strength, in terms of the physical prowess in between both Superman and Homelander, comic and or TV, Homelander should never ever touch Superman. They should never get any licks on Superman. They should not make Superman draw blood. They should not hurt Superman in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Superman should not be feeling their hits. Superman should be treating them as if they are flies, as if they are ants, as if they are nobodies, as if they are nothing, because realistically, Superman should not be even getting phased by any of Homelander's pathetic and mundane attacks. He should not be pushing him back. He should not even be touching him. As soon as Homelander punches Superman, his fist should be breaking. But no, that's not what DC did. And now Joker is scared. He is shocked because he says, Tea Party crashers, how rude, especially when I was about to enjoy my dessert. And he is shocked to witness that Annabelle disappears, and he now sees Annabelle right in front of him. He's scared of seeing Annabelle moving. But bro, I'll get to the Joker part later. I'm looking at Superman, he's being held up by his cape by Homelander. Homelander says, and here I thought you were going to be a challenge, Superman. But Superman headbutts Homelander, and Homelander is bleeding again. His nose is weak. He has a glass nose. And Superman says, I was about to say the same thing. If the fight ended there, I would have been happy. I wish this fight would have ended right here. DC had 2 instances of ending this fight and ending the annoying conversation between both fandoms, but no, the fight continues. And I love looking at the background. We're seeing Joker. He is just like grabbing Annabelle and he is just flailing her around, and he says, I saw you move. I know it. I saw you move. That was so funny. But as the fight's happening, we're looking at all of the different encounters bleeding into each other. The Mortal Kombat encounter is bleeding into Star Sapphire's encounter. Batwoman's encounter is bleeding into everybody else's encounter. And now they're all fighting each other in Red Sonja's Coliseum. And as they're fighting each other, Joker, he's even trying to punch Annabelle. That is so funny. That is so funny, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm looking at Superman. Superman is getting pushed back. He got pushed back too much in this fight. Like, come on, DC. Y'all should have locked in. But the issue ends when the World Forger finally creates and generates enough Omega energy with the help of Gorilla Grodd, and they now transport the heroes back to their respective universes. But look at this, man. Superman is still getting choked out by Homelander. Homelander is probably punching and holding Superman as they're fighting. He's probably grabbing and punching. And Superman, all he could do is use heat vision again. But Homelander, he's not choking him out, but he is grabbing at his neck. Like, bro, come on. This fight was too evenly matched. Superman should have whacked that nigga easily. Superman should have knocked him out with the first uppercut. He should have knocked him out with that headbutt, but no, DC wanted to be fair. Now, I criticize the fight a lot, but this issue was really good. I really had fun reading this issue. I really had a fun time watching all of these characters battle each other. This was a very, very, very good issue, and in my honest opinion, and I recommend you guys, in order to read this issue, just remove your brain cells, just remove your critical thinking, and just have fun. Just have a good time reading characters fighting each other. That's always a good time, in my honest opinion. But Superman should have beaten Homelander easily. Homelander should have not gotten any licks on my boy, man. But that's the end of the video, man. What do you guys think about this entire event, DCKO? Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think of this fight with Homelander or Superman? Let me know. I'm out. Peace.